explain the characteristic and the referent terms which are found in the Buddhist text. Tomorrow I plan to explain the Nibbana in practical terms of the Buddha by quoting the suttas said by the Buddha himself. Today I'm going to explain some technical aspect of the Nibbana which are relevant and applicable to the students. In the previous section, I explained about some characteristic of the Nibbana. In the weaving our text, which is to be interpreted as the Book of Analysis. The four characteristics of the Nibbana is explained. The first one is called the liberation. Liberation from all the suffering and all the pain ordinary people used to suffer. So it means that when a person enters into Nibbana, when he is able to achieve into the Nibbana state, the mind will be free from all the pains and all the suffering associated with the everyday experience and everyday problems. So this is the first characteristic. In Pali, it's called Nisranatha. Ni means out. Sra means out, getting out. So Nisrana means getting out. Getting out of what? Getting out of the trouble, getting out of burdensome, troublesome, and Buddhism situation, which normal, ordinary people used to suffer. So this is the first definition given in the weaving art text. And the second one is called Vivekata. Vivekata. Viveka, the Bali term Viveka means being insulated. Viveka, being insulated and being separated from constant harassment of the emotions, mental developments, and subsequent physical sufferings and mental suffering. So the term itself is self-explanatory. When a person attains into Nibbana, once he can enjoy and experience the bliss of Nibbana, the mind will no longer be harassed. The mind will no longer be disturbed by pains and sufferings and agitations. So this is the second definition regarding the Nibbana. Now the third one, called the Asinkada. Asinkada, the term Asinkada I have already explained in today's early morning session. A means not. Sinkada means condition. Being not conditioned or being unconditioned. Being unconditioned, regarding this, the nature of unconditioned is the empty space. In empty space, there is no more conditioning. No conditioning. Nothing can condition the space. In the same way, Nibbana is unconditioned. There is no arising and passing. Most conditioned things in the world have the nature of a constant arising and passing. This is a constant process. Whatever arises and is subject to passing away. This constant characteristic of rising and passing, it can be found in every phenomena. For example, our body's physical condition, our mental states are being subject to rising and passing. Outside, non-living things are also being subject to constant arising and passing away. You may not understand in the fast, superficial level, how inanimate things are being subject to rising and passing away. To explain a little bit regarding the nature of rising and passing, which is all present in the inanimate non-living thing. Let's say you use your own furniture, wooden furniture or maybe metal frame furniture. You use it every day and you are inside your house. You will notice some signs of decay and degeneration after long time use. And if you leave that imbibe furniture out in the open space and being subject to constant contact with the harsh elements of the snows and rain waters and salty water, etc. And they start showing decay. So this explains how these even inanimate things subject to rising and passing away. In contact with the extreme force, such as heat, and it can go constant transformation. It can undergo constant transformation. So non-living things also have this characteristic. In Buddhist ethics, even the art, which seems to exist eternal, and the sun and the moons are not permanent. According to Buddha's teaching, they also undergo constant change, constant geology. The art undergo constant geologic change, and the sun and the moon also have constant change, even though they may seems like a permanent, strong, and eternal, but actually not. In Buddhist text, is clearly mentioned that the art, which seems like eternal, is not eternal. It has been going through a lot of change, geologic change, constantly. If you go to the ocean beach, you will see the continuous bounding of the ocean waves and the sand grain, trillions of the new grains of the sands come up, and some cliffs and nearby the beach, some are eroded, some are new ones are created, etc. So this clearly shows the process of evolution, or the process of degenerating and regenerating is always ongoing process. And later on, the war, even this art, will undergo its final moment of the destruction by three causes: floods and the heat, and also the winds, by one of the three causes. I think I have to explain a little bit about that, how the war undergoes a violent transformation in the beginning process of when it emerged into the war, when it faced the final moment of destruction. And all these processes are very violent process. In Buddhist text, clearly explained, where there is no one to witness the moment the art is being emerged, when the art is being destroyed. There's no living being left to witness all this situation. So what I want to say is to recap the explanation. And every conditioned thing is being subject to rising and passing away. Even out of the Four Noble Truths, the first truth of the dukkha which comprise the matter and mind and sub-mental states, are continuously arising and passing. The process, the truth of the dukkha, is also subject to rising and passing. Samudaya sitya, which can be categorized in the form of the desire and attachment and craving, and this is also subject to rising and passing. And mega, the path, and the noble truth of the mega or the path, is also made out of the very wholesome mental states. These wholesome mental states too arise and pass away. That's why the people on the spiritual journey, they have to develop these positive mental states. These positive mental states are also their own characteristic. But in the case of the third noble truth, the truth of the Nirodha, the truth of Nirodha means Nibbana in this case. Nibbana is free from all this inherent characteristic of arising and passing. So, to recap this, out of the Four Noble Truths, the other three truths, which are comprised of the matter and physical phenomena, and mind and mental phenomena, and sub-mental states, either good or bad, or positive or negative or wholesome or unwholesome, they continuously arise and pass. They are always subject to constant arising and passing. But in the case of the Nirodha, which can be interpreted as the Nibbana, never subject to arising and passing. So that's why in Buddhist it is always referred to as the amata. A means not. Mata means death, without death. So the Nibbana is a deathless, changeless, so without change. There is no inherent characteristic of the constant arising and passing. It is constant, it lasts. So this is what is mentioned at the third definition, the third characteristic of Nibbana is asangata, being unconditioned. Now the last one, the fourth characteristic. This one is called the amadattva. Amadattva, without transformation, without change. I have already explained amada, deathless. A means without. Mada means dead, deathless. Altogether, so we have the full definition of the Nibbana explained in the Weeping Out text. The first one is going out, being liberated from constant harassment of suffering. Second, being undisturbed and being insulated against destruction and disturbance of the emotions and mental defilement, impure mental states. And the third characteristic, being unconditioned, being without any conditioning cuffs. And the fourth one is without death, deathless and without change. So these are the four characterization of the Nibbana explained in the Weeping Out text. Now, I would like to explain you some more regarding the Nibbana. So please be patient in studying about this, because technical aspects are also necessary to explain. Otherwise, you will not understand what Nibbana means. There are different terms and terminologies which refer to the Nibbana. I would like to refer to some of the terms so that you can clearly understand some of the terms. In the first sermon of the Buddhist text, which is called the Dhammacakka Buddhana Sutta, the first sermon of the Buddha, turning the wheel of the Dhamma. We see different terms used by the Buddha. I would like to quote what Buddha said in the first sermon. Idang kopana bhikkhue dukkha nirodhan ariya desa. The disciple, and this is the noble truth of the nirodha, which is a cessation of the suffering. Yo dasayi wa tanaya asisa viraga nirodho. Asesa completely viraga detach, nirodha cessation, completely detached cessation from the craving. This is what means nirodha and nibbana. And sago, giving up and discarding or throwing away or abandoning that constant attachment which we used to have in our mind, such as me and mine, etc. And that me and mine attachment is being discarded and being abandoned. No longer hold on to it. So this is what Nibbana is, explained in the Buddha's own words. Now another term, Patinesago. Patinesago means, Pati in this case is a prefix, means intensifier. It's very strong. Nesaga means discarding. Discarding it strongly without grabbing it back again. So Patinesaga in this case means giving up permanently without any desire to hold back, like the way we throw away something we don't need, because it is very troublesome. In the same way, the one who attained enlightenment see this notion, this attachment to self and me and mine is the cause of the problem. So he just get over with it. That's what it means, patinesako. Now another term used by the Buddha is analayo. Analayo, having no more tendency to claim it back. Analayo Bali word. Ana means not. Alaya means holding, not holding again, not expecting it, not expecting to hold on to it. So, in other words, it is complete abandon and completely removing from one's own mind. So these are the terms used by Buddha. Yodasa yuvatnaya asisa viraga nirodho, completely being detached from the craving. Sago, giving up. Patinesako, completely abandoning, completely leaving out. Analayo, having no more wish to hold, to take it back. And moti, another time, you say moti means liberating from the whole of that craving. Setting oneself free from the whole, from the snare, from the influence of the craving. So this is what's called the Nibbana or Nirodha in the first sermon of the Buddha. There are other terms and which are relevant to practical situation. Now let me explain those words. Raga Kriyo, exhausting and removing all form of the attachment and craving, clinging. Dosa Kriyo, removing, exhausting all aversion, anger, and negative, hostile mental condition. Moha Kriyo, removing and exhaustion of all the unwise mental state, ignorance, mental conditions. This is the Dadam. Now, the Nakhayo, removal and eradication of the craving. And no more incidents, no more recurrence of the defilements. Abawada, no more practical reaction based on those bad mental states. Animata, not having any kind of wrong attitudes around notion, such as this is solid, this is permanent, and this is pleasant, and this is self, me, my, etc. So there's no more such kind of attitude. Apanihita, it means there is no more point to hold on to. Anayuhana, there's no more to make effort to bring back such thing. Apti Sandi, disconnecting with the those kind of the unwholesome defilement mental states, mental defilements. Anubhabadi, no longer getting going nearer to those kind of unwholesome states. Agadi, being not reborn in the revert. Azadan, no arising. Azran, no passing away. Abhyabdi, no ill, no getting, no death. Sogan, no sadness and no grief. Abridewa, not crying, no more crying anymore. Anubayasan, no more mental pains. Asankilita, no more disturbed, no longer disturbed by unwholesome mental state, etc. These are different terms explained in the Buddhist regarding Nibbana. In one of the very famous sayings of the regarding the Nibbana, recorded in the Digha Nikaya text, that's also an interesting thing. I would like to quote that one. Yata aboja ptavi tejo vayo nawajti. Where there is no more elements, no more material elements, and it's infinite ananda, and sabat to baba, and bright on every dimension. Bright on every dimension. This is sparkle, full of sparkle. This is a very wonderful point explained by the Buddha himself to the two young disciples. Anandan, Buddha used Anandan Savado Bhavan. Ananda means infinite. The nature of Nirvana is infinite. You can enjoy into it continuously, as long as your physical conditions permit and you for at least 1 week, for 7 days. And Savat or Bhava, it is wonderfully bright with a sparkle. And I will explain tomorrow regarding those kind of sutta explained by the Buddha. But in today's session, I want to explain only the technical aspect and technical term used in Buddhist text, so that it's more broadening for your knowledge. Now, in one of the texts called the Buddhist Magga Pali, regarding the explanation of the truth, noble truths, it is explained regarding the Four Noble Truths. Out of the Four Noble Truths, the first truth, the truth of the dukkha, and second truth, the truth of the samudaya, and the fourth truth, the truth of magga, are called the sankhata. Sankhata means condition. Nibbana, the third one, Nirodha Sitcha, the true Nibbana, is unconditioned. So these are two characteristics of the Four Noble Truths. Now, regarding the way of the nature of the Nibbana, in the secular world, among the people who are always in search of the pleasure, they look for some sort of the euphoria. Euphoria is a kind of mental state where the mind remains ecstatic, peaceful, and joyous. In the West, there are some sort of the psychedelic drugs or the narcotic drugs. Narcotic drug can induce some sort of the mental calm. And which lasts for a limited period of time. Let's say this is a drug-induced euphoria. Because drug-induced euphoria seems like pleasant for some people. They just push the drug and they use drug. Actually, this is a very much harmful to the bodily health. It can impair the normal brain function. Why they do it? Because they thought this kind of euphoria is something which can relieve their pain. But they cannot show and grasp the taste of that, the nature of the euphoria. In the same way, when people have a very good sleep, very sound and very nice sleep, they know that's a wonderful next day morning when they woke up. But they cannot explain it, what it is like. Very difficult to explain. But that is only the natural conditions of the balanced body. When all the conditions are in balance, in a very perfect balance, and they can sleep well, they can enjoy their sleep. But most of the people, they cannot enjoy just good sleep every time they go to bed. So the taste of the good sleep And the days of the drug-induced euphoria are just only sensations and experience which people used to have. In the same way, they are the pleasures, bodily pleasures, enjoying some bodily pleasure through the good food, eating the good food, listening good music, having good good sensation through the body, or any sensual pleasure. There are also many kind of pleasures in the world on the secular level. All those kind of pleasures too are subject to rising and passing away. But in the case of the Nibbana peace, it is inexhaustible, like the water in the ocean. Like the water in ocean, never run out. Similarly, when a person enter into the spiritual bliss, the bliss never exhaustible, it lasts very wonderful way for unlimited period of time. This is a great distinction between the taste of the pleasure of the worldly life and the taste of the spiritual bliss of nirvana. And it is also harmless. It has no side effect. It has no attendant consequence. So it is pure and unadulterated. That's why it is called the asangilita sukha, unadulterated happiness. Sometimes it is called the niramisa sukha, non-material happiness, not matter-based happiness, but spiritual happiness, which is long-lasting and which is also inexhaustible. You can get this kind of inexhaustible supplying of the wonderful place once a person is able to enter into that place. So nirvana bliss is very wonderful. There is a very wonderful explanation regarding the nature of Nibbana. It is explained by Venerable Nagasena. I think some of you may heard about that. In the English translation, they used to call that book, I think, Minanda Panya, the question of Minanda. In Pali, the name is Milanda. And Venerable Nagasena is very intellectual monk. He appeared only after the, let's say, 700 years after Buddha's passing in the ancient India and in the, I think, in the today's Pakistan area and South Punjabi state. Venerable Nagasena was born there. He was also an enlightened saint. He is very famous as a very educated and ready to answer any question. So the king, named Milanda, is also very sharp, intellect person with a very sharp intellect, very critical of anything. So he just approached to the Venerable Nagasena. He asked very challenging question to Venerable Nagasena. I want to share all those questions. The king asked Venerable Nagasena. Venerable Nagasena, is is that Nibbana really peaceful and happy? How can you explain this? Venerable Nagasena explained by using a worldly experience. Again, I would like to tell you, in this world there are wealthy people who live amid the luxuries. They have all kind of pleasures available, pleasant sight, pretty sights, and pleasant sounds, and pleasant smells, and pleasant tastes, and pleasant sensations. All the through the five senses. Whatever they want, they have to make effort. Only they are trying to get the thing they want. They may go through suffering. For example, regarding the food, they eat the food, the good food, but after that they have to have certain kind of the attendant consequence. The same way, all the pleasure available through the five sensual organs have certain association with unnecessary thing, unnecessary condition. But in the case of Nibbana, when a person enters into Nibbana, he doesn't have to worry about this and that. He just only enjoy it without being disturbed, without being agitated, without having to associate with the bad condition. That's why the great disciple during Buddha's lifetime, they used to enter into the spiritual bliss every month, once or two times every month for a 1 week, 7 days period of time. By entering into the bliss without going out for arms round, without getting involved in the social interaction, without having to suffer the physical maintenance problem. There's no more bodily maintenance problem for them during the process of the spiritual bliss. That bliss is very enduring and lasting. So by an example of this, you can understand that the Nirvana is actually pure happiness and pure bliss without any kind of association with unnecessary condition. This is the one aspect answered by the Venerable Nagasena. And then another question raised by the king is regarding the physical characteristic and physical nature of the Nibbana. So the king asked Venerable Nagasena, Pandit Nagasena, is it possible to define Nirvana in terms of the physical dimension, the physical aspect, such as appearance and length or durations in or any physical modes by using any kind of the comparative simile or metaphor or any kind of logic, so that one can understand more clearly. Regarding this, Venerable Nagasena answer by pointing the example of the ocean. Again, you see have you seen the ocean? Yes. Can you count the water in the ocean? Can you also count the marines life living there? How many species and how many kind of living creatures are living in the ocean? How you would answer? Venerable Nagarjuna asked, Bhante, it is impossible to answer how much water mass there is in the ocean. How many kind of species and how many kind of the living creatures are living there. It is impossible. We can only understand by assumption that there are different species, marine species living inside the ocean. The water is huge volume of the water, and there's no way to measure. In the same way, again, it is quite impossible to define the nature of nirvana on physical dimension by pointing any material and physical aspect of its length, its existence, its physical nature. It is only non-material peace, non-material bliss. So and in the same thing way, there's no way to give any definition of the nirvana by using physical dimension. That's explained by the Venerable Nagarjuna. It's a very relevant answer. So now, let's have a break. Let's have a now. I hope everybody is back. Let's start our session now.
Okay.
Venerable Nagarjuna answered to the king that to explain Nibbana in terms of physical aspect, physical dimension is impossible. Then the king, Minanda, continued to ask another question. Venerable Sir, is it possible to explain the quality of the Nibbana if the physical aspect of Nirvana is impossible to explain? The Venerable Nagarjuna answered, yes, of course, quality can be explained. The quality of Nibbana can be explained by using some metaphorical statements. The first metaphor I would like to tell you is that about the lotus leaf. Again, have you seen the lotus leaf? Yes, it is located based on the water, but it grows out of the water, not being stuck inside the water or stuck with the water. Yes, that is the answer. Nibbana, when an enlightened saint is able to enter into Nibbana, he becomes like a lotus leaf, even though it is located in the water, is no longer connected with the water, agitated by the waves of the water. It is no longer contaminated. The mind of enlightenment is no longer associated or contaminated with the defilement. It remains always calm and pure, agitated, undisturbed by the defilements. So he can live life in more peace and more happiness, unlike other people. This is a brief explanation of the Venerable Nagasena. Regarding this, I would like to point what Buddha has said in the Buddhist text. This is a very beautiful saying of the Buddha. Buddha said, Hambekwe loke jado, loke sanwado, lokasma wisanyudo, loke na anupaledo. These words are very deep and wonderful. Now I want to translate. Disciple, I was born in the war. I grew up in the war. I live among people in the war, but I am dissociated from the way of people. I am not agitated like the way people used to suffer. I am liberated from the war. These words are very clear and very direct to the characteristic of general mental condition and the way the enlightened saints live. Most people in the world are always going through the waves of the oceans, ups and downs of life. Some of them, they just sink. Some of the people just bobbing up and down, always struggling amid the waves, amid the suffering and the pleasures and pain. Because they have defilements in their mind, they react based on their emotions. They suffer based on their emotions. Enlightened saints, because their mind is liberated from the domains and influence of the defilement, they no longer react in the way the other worldly people react. They don't suffer in the way other worldly people suffer. They can live life with a very wonderful serenity of inner joy, inner peace, inner calm, without being affected by those things. This does not mean they have no heart. They have no ability to be sensitive to the outward experience. They remain sensitive, but they are not effective. They have compassion, they have goodwill, they have the desire to rescue, to come to rescue of the suffering people. But they don't cry together with these people when they are suffering. They don't share the laughter when they are enjoying themselves. Instead, they just remain calm. They just remain calm. They notice suffering of people, they rescue, they help, and they know the pleasure of the people. They are not carried away by such kind of the pleasure. It is perfect equilibrium of the balanced mind, which can which they attain through the enlightenment. So this is a very wonderful statement of the Buddha. I was born in the world, grew up in the world, lived among the world, but of the world, of the way. He's not behaving like the way people used to behave in a very pitiful way. He just remained composed and peaceful. He can live through good and bad situations because he have attained liberation of the mind, liberation of the intellect. In this case, liberation of the mind is not ordinary bhava liberation, which come out through the mouth, through the lips. This liberation is deeply seated in the deepest level of the mind, very strong, very lasting. And it's not temporary. It's not bhava liberation. It's a very permanent liberation. That's why Buddha used to say, akupame vimoti. Mind liberation is never to be contemporary. Mind liberation is never to be fleeting and passing. It is permanent. Akupa, indestructible. Vimoti, liberation. Mind liberation is indestructible by whatever cause and by whatever time and conditions. It's a permanent. So the liberation of the enlightened saints is permanent and lasting. The being free from attachment and craving is not temporary experience. It is permanent for them. So they can live life beautifully and peacefully. Now let me continue what Venerable Nagasena explained. So Venerable Nagasena explained regarding the nature of Nibbana by showing the lotus leaf. Now he also explained, to continue to explain, that now there are two qualities of the Nibbana. The first one is Nibbana itself is very calm and peaceful. It has a very calming effect on the mind. This calming effect, tranquilizing effect on the mind is permanent. There's no more agitation. This is the first characteristic. In Pali, it's called the Savakili Saprilaha Nibbana. It has the ability to extinguish the heat and the heat caused by the defilements. Now, second characteristic of Nibbana. Nibbana kamadana bhawadana vibhwadana pipasa vinyana. The second quality of Nibbana is it is ability to remove unsatiable thirst. Unsatiable thirst. Unsatiable thirst means unfulfilled desire. Most people in the world, including myself, have our desire never fulfilled. We always want something. It never stops. Insatiable desire for certain pleasure, a specific possession, a specific thing. This kind of the insatiable desire is called in Pali Tanha. Tanha means continuous thirst, continuous thirst, feeling thirsty all the time for something new, for something the other one, rather than the one has. The nature of Nibbana extinguish this continuous thirst. So there is no more continuous thirst. When a person attain enlightenment. So this is the second quality of Nibbana. It can extinguish continuous sequence of desires. This does not mean the enlightened saint don't need to eat food, don't need to eat clothing, don't need to eat the accommodation. They need those kind of material needs because they still have the body. They still have the physical existence. Because they have physical existence, they have to maintain the body physically by providing daily food, by providing with the clothing, by providing with the shelter, by providing with the medicine when they are in need of the medicine. They also need to interact and communicate with the fellow friends, human being, when necessary, for a good cause of talking wholesome teaching and sharing wholesome knowledge and helping people who are in need, who are suffering. So they still need to do that, even though they are extinguished, they are able to extinguish the task, continuous task of the desire for new things, etc. They need physical things to some degree without any kind of attachment. Now, the third characteristic quality, whenever Nagasena explained, is Nibbana is itself is like a very safe sanctuary of the mind of the enlightened state. In this case, whenever Nagasena used the term Patisarana, sanctuary or shelter, sanctuary shelter is important for those who are striking with a disaster, who are going through untold suffering. They need some reliable shelter and sanctuary. All the whole world is suffering from the defilements, emotions. So Nibbana can provide as a shelter. This is another quality of the Nibbana. When a person can enjoy the Nibbana peace, he already got a perfect shelter, perfect sanctuary. Now, next quality, whenever Nagasena explained, is that Nibbana is the terminator of suffering. This means that when a person starts even understanding about Nirvana intellectually. Forget about the attainment or realization, actual realization. The moment he start understanding about the wonderful aspect of Nirvana, he he can have a feeling, close feeling that Nirvana is where sufferings can end. So the Nirvana is the end of suffering. When a person enters into Nirvana by attaining enlightenment, all the suffering will be closed. All the chapter of suffering will be closed. All the suffering will be come to a close. The moment one attains Nirvana, it will put a stop, complete stop to the suffering. I think regarding this, I have explained you in one point of our class, how the enlightened saints has to go through the physical suffering, not mental suffering. Mental suffering no more. Physical suffering they have to. When they are going out into the cold, when they are going out into the rain, when they are going out into the hot sun, they have to go through suffering. When someone hit their body, physical body, when something goes wrong, let's say health problem, they have suffering. But they don't suffer mentally. They just observe that physical suffering, bodily suffering, with a very strong mindfulness. They simply let go of it. So physical suffering, they have to live through, but no mental suffering. So the dominator of suffering, it means dominator of the all the continual process of suffering in the mind, and also continual suffering which we all have to suffer in the next phase of rebirth. Now, next characteristic, Venerable Nagasena explains, Nirvana is deathless. There's no more death. This is another quality of Nirvana. Now, Venerable Nagasena continue to explain, Nirvana is empty of all the negative, repugnant defilements. Regarding this, we have to explain about the nature of the ocean. In the oceans, all the dead bodies or dead carcass of the animals and humans are usually washed ashore. The waves usually carry it to the shore. And when a person attains Nibbana, and his mind will be free of those kind of repugnant mental states, negative repugnant mental states, known as kilesa. So this is another quality mentioned by Venerable Nagasena. Now, next, Venerable Nagasena explained, Nirvana is like inexhaustible supply of the peace, like the ocean. In the ocean, all the rivers flow the water into it. All the river, big and small, all the creeks and streams, big and small, every water from the uphill flow down into the ocean. Even though there are heavy rains, the level of the sea always remain calm and stable. In the same way, the nature of peace available through the Nibbana never exhausted and never short supply. This is another quality of Nibbana. Then, Venerable Nagasena continued to explain, the Nibbana is available for those with the highest mental state of their determinations and effort and positive mental qualities. Only those with such kind of the strong positive mental qualities can attain Nibbana, or weak people with a lukewarm interest and not serious commitment cannot attain Nibbana. So this is another quality of the Nibbana. Next quality explained by Venerable Nagasena is that it's like a treasury full of the many wonderful treasures. When a person's mind attains into the spiritual bliss, he can possess other wonderful spiritual qualities, such as such as the certain supernormal knowledge and immeasurable amount of the purity of the mind and immeasurable undisturbed degree of mental inner liberation and inner peace. So these are wonderful, like the wonderful treasures one can attain, one can enjoy once a person have achieved the Nibbana treasury. Venerable Nagasena also explained about that. Once a person, another quality is Nibbana is like the source of life, because when a person enters into Nibbana, it can eradicate old age and death. Old age and death, no more old age, no more death. So it's like a longevity providing resource. Then Venerable Nagasena explained that Nibbana is where there is no more being revolved, where there is no more getting old, where there is no more death, where there is no more change, where there is no more arising. And it is not based on any physical dimension. It is only the part where the saints can go, enlightened saint can go. It is also infinite and unobstructed joy. So these are some of the wonderful aspects explained by Venerable Nagasena. And then Venerable Nagasena continued to explain. This one is a very much interesting. Nibbanam ko Maharaja Anuniya Patiga Vipamukta. Nibbana is the power to overcome liking or disliking. There's no more liking, no more disliking, no more attachment or no more hatred. Most people in the world, they cannot overcome liking or disliking or love and hate. For enlightened saying, who have entered into the Nibbana, who have been able to attain the Nibbana, their mind no longer have any kind of attachment based on preference. Their mind has no longer negative reaction based on aversion. So always remain calm. And next quality is that Nibbana cannot be defined in the manner of time. It is not the past. It's not the future. It's not the present. It is timeless. It's timeless and it is calm and changeless. These are qualities explained by Venerable Nagasena. Then the king asked the Venerable Nagasena how to recognize Nibbana as one can understand. Venerable Nagasena explained, Nibbana is where there is no more danger, where there is no more fear, where there is no more distraction, where there is no more disturbance. It is safe, peaceful, joyous, pleasant, and it is totally never get bored by being entered into Nirvana. One will never get bored. One will never get fed up with that kind of peace, like the worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures, once you have enough of them, you just neglect them. Later on, you just want again. In the case of the Nirvana, it never makes you bored with that wonderful joy. So it's called the Panida. You just remain calm and satisfied and filled with bliss. So it's also, Nagasena explained, Nirvana is also purity, purity of the mind and purity of the conduct and purity of all the aspect of life. So this is the easiest definition given by the Buddha, given by Venerable Nagasena to understand Nibbana. Then the king asked Pandit Nagasena, if there's no physical aspect to hold on to, why? Why there is something you wish for? This question is also a very tricky question. And Venerable Nagasena answered, okay, let me explain. Let's say you are holding onto some sort of the iron ball. Iron ball very hot, and you just trying to turn around, hoping that it will get cool at this point and that, but instead you got heat and pain on every aspect of the iron ball, hot iron ball. You don't see anything that you can hold on to. And then what you are going to do? Venerable Nagasena asked, oh, I have to drop it. I have to drop it. Okay, now let me make the point. In the same way, we are living this body, with this body, this physical life. We have to live through different conditions which are against our expectation and our wish. We see old age, we see sickness, we see death, we see separation from the loved one. We see the meeting with those unpleasant and hate ones. Not everything is according to our wish in this life. We try to hold on to it. We see a lot of suffering. And when you see suffering of this life in clear way, you don't hold on to it. Instead, you just trying to find a safe shelter, a high ground. The Nirvana is like a high ground, high spiritual ground, where you are no longer agitated and disturbed. So that's why we need to achieve such kind of state of peace, even though the nature of peace is not tangible. It does really exist. Venerable Nagasena explained. So What Benjamin Nagasena explained is physical reality and non-physical reality. And that's the same thing Buddha explained regarding this. Buddha explained the two levels of the truth and two dimensions, certain truth and uncertain truth. Certain truths are those with the physical reality, such as our body, our practical human life, and animals who share this planet, and all the environment around us. These are physical reality. And suffering also is physical reality. The issue of suffering is a universal issue. And also the issue of the happiness and the pursuit of happiness is also a universal issue. People are trying to pursue happiness by different way through their own perspective. And spiritual happiness and spiritual joy is uh, without any physical reality. So we have to view from both perspective of the physical reality and non-physical reality. Physical reality is something we do always tangible. Non-physical reality, something we can feel. So the wonderful feeling of the good sleep, a wonderful feeling of joy, which we can experience through our body, our physical senses. And all these are not lasting. They are not in the physical form. We have to acquire them, but they are not lasting. But regarding the spiritual bliss of the Nibbana, it is also not physical reality, but it does exist. It does exist. The moment one is able to overcome one's own emotions, such as grief, or anger, then one feels peaceful. Without understanding two levels of the reality, we will not be able to understand the meaning of the Nibbana. So, Nibbana is real. All the enlightened saints have attained it. Buddha himself have attained that peace because he was able to remain in the spiritual bliss for 1 week, for 49 days after enlightenment. We can be sure, we have been convinced that the Nirvana peace is real. It's not theoretical existence. It is the practical peace that can be experienced by those who have attained enlightenment. If you are able to read original Pali text, you will see how Buddha explained, how Buddha enjoy the nature of the Nibbana peace. He has attained it, he experienced it, he was able to remain in that spiritual bliss. 1 week at a time, altogether 7 weeks, 49 days after enlightenment. Only after 7 weeks' time, he set out on a journey of teaching and sharing of the Dhamma. This is recorded in Buddhist text. So by understanding what's recorded in Buddhist text, so we have to accept that Nirvana is a practical state, is not an unreal experience. It is achievable if we can try our best. Now let me continue to explain regarding And the first word I have said in the Buddhist text. This is a very interesting in the one of the discourse. The name of discourse is called the Kewutta Sutta. Kewutta Sutta is in Silakhanda Wagga Pali in the Digha Nikaya text. It is about a gentleman. It is about a monk. So two people. First one is a gentleman. He just, when Buddha was living in a place called Nalanda. Nalanda is a ancient name where the very famous university, monastic university is located in the Bihar. It is not far from the city of Rajagaha. So when Buddha was staying in this Nalanda, in the Mongol group, one gentleman came to the Buddha. Out of the goodwill, he requests to the Buddha. His request is a very humble request, but regarding something very unusual. He requests to the Buddha, Lord Buddha, our city Nalanda is a very thriving and flourishing city with a lot of people and a lot of material wealth. And people here in this city are also admirer of the Buddha and devotees of the Buddha. It will be a very good idea if you assign a monk to regularly perform psychic powers in the city. This way, all the people in the city will be very happy and they will become more inspired. He made this request. Then Buddha replied, no, I'm not going to instruct or assign my monks to perform miracles to show the psychic powers to the devotees. Buddha replied, for the second time, gentleman request. Lord Buddha, I mean, making this request out of goodwill, a sincere desire to propagate your teaching. Please assign one monk to perform miracles and to show the psychic powers to the devotees. For the second time, Buddha refused to accept his request. There are reasons why Buddha refused it. And for the third time, and that gentleman request, Lord Buddha, I am not insulting you, I am not spoiling you, I'm just only want to make humble request. This city is very well-known city and very thriving city. If you can assign one monk in order to perform miracle to the audience, to the devotees, then it will be very wonderful for that you are teaching. At the third request, Buddha replied to the gentleman. The gentleman's name is called Kewutta. Kewutta, I would like to tell you the miracle, wonderful miracles in the world. There are three kinds of miracles. The first is psychic miracle. one use special effect miracle, one perform special effect miracle, such as sitting on the sky and walking on the sky, moving on the sky, creating doubles out of one's own body, multiplying one's appearance, appearing in front of people and instantly disappearing in front of people, and reappearing again somewhere. And just going down onto the art in front of the people and disappearing into the art and reappearing out of nowhere. And walking on the lake, on the surface of the water, and sitting on the lake, on the water surface, flying and moving on the space like a bird. All these are miracle, psychic miracle, performed by manipulating one's own mind. This is the first kind of the miracle, by using the mind as the base. Ordinary people will be very inspired and will be very amazed at such kind of psychic powers. But there are other negative effects behind this. Someone who are very stubborn in one's own belief, who is not my follower, will view it as a magic. He will view it as a magic, even though it is a miracle performed by means of the using one's own mental energy, manipulating one's own mental power. It's an unusual feat, but for such a person, very dogmatic, very orthodox, very stubborn person in one's own beliefs, he will view it as a magic. Then he will dare by sincerely devotee of the Buddhas. I don't feel so much about that, because one can perform such miracle by use of the secret technique called the Gandhari. Gandhari is a very form of the ancient mysticism developed by the hermits living in the forest. This is just only ordinary miracle, magic show, performed by those kind of people who possess this secret knowledge. There will be such kind of people. For such kind of negative effects, I don't want to instruct my disciple to perform miracle, even though it may be good for some people. So then let me tell you, this is the first kind of miracle which one can perform by means of the manipulating one's own progressive psychic power. Now the second kind of miracle, the ability to tell others' mind, what kind of thoughts and what kind of plan he is having, etc. This kind of miracle is also very unusual. Some people, they can do it. Even my monks, my disciples, there are a lot of people, a lot of monks, a lot of disciples who can know other people's mind by their progressive stage of enlightenment. They know. They can exactly tell what kind of thought he's having, what kind of things happening in his mind. This second miracle is also not impressive for someone who has a strong superstitious orthodox belief. They will say, he can say other people's thought by using some sort of the ancient knowledge, which is called the manika. Manika is some sort of the ancient knowledge. By use of it, some people can tell other people's mind. So I don't want to instruct my disciple to perform this second miracle. Okay, now let me explain the third miracle. The third miracle is practical applied teaching. This one I prefer. Practical applying teaching in this case means that you must improve your mental condition. You must remove such kind of unwholesome mental state. You must avoid such kind of unwholesome verbal speech. You can develop wholesome verbal speech. You must avoid unwholesome bodily speech, bodily action. You must cultivate wholesome bodily action, such as abstaining from killing, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from adultery, etc., and helping each other, cultivating goodwill, etc. And also, I will instruct devotees, my disciples, to teach devotees how to live life, how to observe the moral precept, how to refine the mind, how to practice meditation, how to live a very wholesome life, how to progress spiritually, how to work for the spiritual progress, etc. These are more realistic and more practical. I mean, I don't object to such kind of practical teaching miracle because this is more realistic and what the practical results. Anyone who follows advice, wholesome and good advice, can benefit. So I only prefer the practical teaching. And this is also a miracle. If you are teaching a wholesome teaching, this is what Buddha mentioned to that guy, and then Buddha continued to explain to that guy, Kevuda, once among my monastic community, among our monks, there was once a monk who started having serious thoughts. Okay, let me continue this incident about the monk mentioned by the Buddha. Now let's have a break. Let us have. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, now let's resume. The story I'm going to share with you is about the actually Nibbana. It is concerned with a very important aspect of Nibbana set in Buddha's own word. Now let me continue the story. After gentleman requested to perform miracle, Buddha explained three kinds of miracle. And the first one is psychic miracle, the second one, and the miracle of the telling other people's mind and mental condition. And the third one is practical application of the teaching and guidance for the daily life, for improvement and progress of daily life. After that, Buddha mentioned about this a story about a monk who is a disciple of the Buddha. That monk is also an enlightened saint. One day, there is a very deep thought in the mind of the one monk. He starts thinking about that where, at which point, the 4 basic elements of the world, 4 basic elements of life cease to function. 4 basic elements are the earth element, the water element, the heat element, the one element. These are called the 4 basic material elements of life. That he's just wondering where these 4 basic elements of the universe, of the physical life form, cease to function. So instead of the seeking answer with the Buddha, he trying to look for answers somewhere else. He thought the divine beings in the heaven may be able to answer him. So he entered into some absorption state so that he can go to the heavens. He just go to the lower heaven, called where the 4 divine kings, known as the Chatu Maharaja, live there. He just approached to the 4 divine kings. He asked the question, do you know where the 4 basic elements of the universe are completely exhausted and ceased, such as the earthly element, water element, heat element, and air element? When this question was raised, the 4 divine kings, known as Chatu Maharaja, replied, Venerable man, we don't know where these 4 basic elements of the universe and life cease to function. You just go there, you just go to more higher heavens, more powerful beings. You better ask there. Then the monks go to the next heaven. This heaven is called the Tawa Tensa. If you are familiar with the Buddhist heavens, you will know that in the Buddhist text explain about that. So he go to the little bit higher heaven known as Tawa Tensa. So he approached the divine beings there. Ask the question, where the 4 basic elements of life and universe cease to function? Do you know the answer to this question? Venerable man, we don't know. There is a great king, known as the Saga, the great celestial king. You just approach him, ask this question. So he just go there, he just approached the celestial king Saga. So he also answered the same way. I don't know where these 4 elements cease to function. Instead, he advised him to go farther up in the higher heaven. I want to keep the story short. He just go up to upper level heaven where they are the higher heavenly beings known as the Yama, and also there he cannot find the answer. He just go up there again at the advice of those divine beings. He slowly approach upper heaven again until he reached the highest heaven. The highest heaven is called the Brahma world in Pali word. Brahma means the God. The greatest God there thought himself, he is the creator of all living beings, both born and unborn. He also thinks himself he can manipulate other people's, other creatures. He can overwhelm. He is the dominant over other beings. He is the father of all the beings, all living beings, those who are born and those who are yet unborn. So he approached that greatest Mahabrahma, the great God. He asked the question. I come here with a question. I would like to know that where the basic elements of the world, basic element of universe, came to a complete cessation. Then the Mahabrahma, the great God replied, I am the God, I am the creator, I am the father of those born and those who are yet unborn. Every living being follow my manipulation. Then the monk replied, I am not asking for that kind of answer. What I ask is that where, at which point, four basic elements came to a complete cessation. That's what I want to know. Then for the second time, for the third time, the great Brahma, the great God replied, monk, I'm a creator. I'm the father of those born and those who are yet unborn. I'm dominant over all the world. I am manipulator, all the living beings follow my wish. Then the monk replying for the Radai, I'm not asking this question for your answer. What I'm asking is where and at which point four basic elements of the universe and every form of life came to a complete cessation. When the monk replying that question, the great God hold the monk in his arm, calm the monk. So the God took him somewhere else outside where there's no one. Then he just explained, monk, instead of asking me, you have to go down to your teacher Buddha. Only himself will know. I don't know myself. I don't directly answer in front of my fellow heavenly beings because they thought I'm in the creator, I know everything. I mean, they are dominant boss. So if I don't want to answer in front of them, that's why I just took you here. So you go back to your place and approach the Buddha and you ask the question. Then the monk realized he he looked for the wrong direction for the answer. So he just go back by use of his psychic power. He just come back to the where the Buddha stay. He just approached the Buddha, having paid respect to the Buddha. He asked the question, Lord Buddha, I have a question. Where all basic universal physical element came to a complete stop, a complete cessation. And Buddha correct his question. Man, you should not ask like this. You should change your way of questioning. Instead of asking like this, you must ask the question like this. Now let me go what Buddha has said. Kata aboja batawi tejo wayo nagadadi. Kata digenja rasenja anon tulan suba. Kata namanja rubanja ase san uba rojadi. Monk, you should instead ask your question in this way. Where the water, earth, heat, and the wind no longer located, where physical aspect of long, short, big, small, pleasantly beautiful, or ugly cease to become relevant, where the physical body, where the consciousness are no longer function. You ask in this way. Then, to such kind of deep question, there will be relevant answer like this. And saying this, Buddha mentioned, Tatra Veya Karanam Pavati. To such a question, here is the answer. Vinyanam anidasnam anandam sabado bhava ita aboja batui tejo vayo nagaradi ita digenja rasenja anontulan subha ita namanja rupanja asesam uparojati vinyanasa nirodhena Itedam uparojati. Now I'm going to interpret these words, but they are very deep and very difficult to interpret and make it understandable, because I want to explain a little bit later on. And what Buddha says, Vinyanam anidasnam anandam sabado bhava. Invisible spiritual element, infinite but bright on every aspect and shining. Here in this invisible, infinite consciousness, the earth, the water, the heat, the one elements no longer take hold, no longer take physical form. Here, all the physical aspect of the being short, being long, being small, being big, or being pretty, or being unpretty are relevant, no longer relevant. It is only in this invisible, infinite, bright consciousness that where the physical and all the inclination of the mental energy completely cease to function. Here, everything ceases to function. So this is what Buddha mentioned in the Buddhist text. What this answer means. It's very deep explanation of the Buddha. Actually, it refers to Nibbana. In this case, Nibbana is just only the invisible spiritual state, infinite, but at the same time, sparkling, full of sparkle, because it mentioned Sabbato Baba. Because of this statement of the Buddha, Some people interpret the Nibbana as a very wonderful spiritual state, infinite spiritual state, where the bright and peaceful, blissful nature exists, but no more inclination of the mind. The mind used to incline to such and such an object normally. For our mind, for example, always incline, always focus. In this case, inclination, the term inclination, I use it. In Pali, it is called the nama. Nama means the needle of the compass. If you see the compass, you see the pointer. The pointer always point to the north, extreme north. Even though wherever you put and facing whatever direction you put, that needle, that pointer, always point to the north. Our mind, always incline, always flying on to different kind of objects. And while we are sitting on our chair and studying in the class, we may think about our friend. Our mind may be going to New York. Our mind may be going to the restaurant and remembering this and that. And so our mind is always restless and constantly inclining here and there, and inclining to this object and that object. Because of this inclining nature, the mind is called the nama. Nama means Pali word nama, the nama, original root is nama, namu. Namu means you can bend, to bend, to point wherever you want. Like the way we can bend our arms, and we can stretch our fingers. In the same way, the mind can fall over and whatever object anyone. So that's why it's called the nama. This is the ability of the mind to travel to different objects, to fall on different objects. In this case, when a person's mind, mental states are entering into that state, that inclination capacity, that inclining characteristic stop. So because of that inclining tendency is so, the mind remains totally peaceful, calm, agitated. So it's very deep. Because of this nature, the mind of the enlightened is saying, and that liberation nirvana state remains calm and peaceful, uninclined to anything. Normally, our mind is always inclined. And to explain this further, I want to tell you a very serious situation. Let me talk about a hospital. ICU ward, where the patient is in a very serious situation. In his last final moments, all the medical options are no longer working. Dauda decided that he's going to die anyhow. So what they used to do is that they may refer to some sort of the Christian chaplain to pray for them, to come and pray beside his bed. They may invite the Buddhist monk if he is a Buddhist devotee. So the religious people just go there and just pray for the guy if he is still awake and conscious. If he is unconscious, it's no help actually. So the mind of that terminal patient who is suffering from intense pain of the cancer or some sort of pain, his mind is inclining. Even though his body remains quiet and peaceful in the hospital bed, his mind is inclining. Maybe his mind is going back to his home or thinking about this and that. His mind may be enjoying some sort of those happy, wonderful days, very beautiful day when he's enjoying. His mind is going there, oh, there. Even though we cannot see, nobody can see the mind, his soul. Let's say I use the term soul. His soul is already going out and back to his home, and visiting his relatives or his grandchildren or his wife, so and so. So this kind of inclination is going on continuously. Because his inclination is going on continuously, depending on his mental condition, even though the heart stops functioning in the final moment of death, when the heart ceases to beat, blood supply, blood circulation stop. The body becomes rigid. The organs no more function. There's no more activity of consciousness, but it is still wandering orbs in a continuous sequence of mental states. This is how inclination happens. Based on this inclination, the process of the rebirth, let's say next phase of the rebirth takes place, depending on his strong attachment. If he is still attached to his wife, who is still alive, if he is still attached to his home, his spirit, his spiritual energy may still remain there in the invisible state. And based on very strong attachment and strong inclination, maybe he remain there in a ghost life, as a ghost, invisible ghost. Or maybe he will take conception in his daughter-in-law's womb or his granddaughter's womb to start a new phase of life, new phase of rebirth. This is just only a very simple and detailed explanation how the mind is constantly undergoing this procedure of inclination. Quite recently, a few days ago, in our place in the capital city of Michigan called Lansing, an old man about 85 years old passed away of coronavirus. Nobody has the chance to attend the funeral, so he was cremated. He is a Christian, even though he was a Buddhist, but later he converted to Christian because of his life condition. One important strange thing happened in his home. Even though his body is cremated already, and all the brain Christian custom, according to Christian custom, right, all the brains are done, he still remains in the house. All the family members can notice because they heard the sound of the feet walking inside the house and coming into the room. Not only that, they can hear the sound of the rice cooker and the sound of the refrigerator being open, and they just hear the sound of the clicking sound of the cover of the rice container, because the ghost, the dead person's ghost, consciousness is still there. He may be hungry. He's just looking for the food. They don't know what to do. If they were the Buddhist devotee, they may have to say some of the Buddhist prayer, etc. So this is what has happened. The inclination is part very outstanding characteristic of the mind. There's also another incident. This is a young man, but he's very fat, but he passed away during his sleep. He's still healthy, but due to maybe cholesterol level, high cholesterol level, his heart stopped functioning and during the sleep. He passed away. He's only 27 years old, living a young wife and two sons and one girl. He's also a Christian, and his pastor and say that he is now in the heaven with God, enjoying the bliss and eternal life in the heaven, etc. But he remained in the house. His wife, his children all notice him, notice his presence. The doors open without anybody seeing actually. The doors of the room, the doors of the house open, and the lights switch turns on. They hear the walking sound of the feet. Even the children say that their mother, "Man, and Papa is here, still here." And the wife also know because she has to go to work every day. When she is going to work, she just start engine in the car. She start engine in the car. She start fasten seat belt. Then on the other side of the passenger seat, and she noticed like that someone is sitting because the car start shaking and the seats being sink surface of the seat. Not only that, there's a signal, a alarm signal. If you lift and your seat belt unfastened, there is some sort of warning bell, cling, 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 etc. And that sound also come out. And the wife doesn't know what to do. So she said, his name is called Foggy. Foggy, I know you. You are still in my house. So you are already passed away. Don't disturb us. She just can't see like this. She doesn't know what to do. So these are incidents of the dead people whose spiritual energy, let's say whose soul, still remain in the house and with the family, lingering about here and there. This is how inclination is the problem of the mind, the chief characteristic. In the process of Nibbana, there is no more inclination. This outstanding basic characteristic of the mind and become peaceful. The mind of enlightened saints always remain calm, agitated. Therefore, they never take any kind of the rebirth. They just remain, and the spiritual bliss and spiritual element, infinite spiritual element with the sparkle. So, if we learn about this, it's very, very difficult to explain the nature of Nibbana on practical terms. I mean, just only sharing very important sayings of the Buddha said by himself and which is recorded in the long collection of long discourse known as the Digha Nikaya. Very interesting. And I will try to share with you very important thing of the Buddha tomorrow because they are very enlightening and they are also very profound. They are no nonsense explanation of the Buddha. Instead of using the commentary explanation, I just use direct scriptural words, original words of the Buddha, so that you can understand what the state of Nibbana looks like when a person attains the Nibbana. In these words, Lord Buddha said, Nantan Sabatso Papa, Ita Digenja Rasenja Anontulan Suba Suba. Here in this infinite consciousness, there's no more physical dimensions are no more relevant. Whether it is short, whether it is loud, whether it is a minute particle, whether it is a big one, whether it is beautiful, whether it is ugly, it's no longer, such kind of the linguistic expressions are no longer relevant. Ita na mencha rubenja, here in this infinite consciousness of the great light, the inclination of the mind and the functions of the matter also cease to function, cease to take their normal procedures. This ceaseless incidence of the inclination process of soul stop functioning. So there's no more agitation, no more disturbance. That's what Buddha said. It's very deep and very interesting and thought-provoking. A lot of people are trying to interpret Nibbana from different view and different perspective. But from different view, different perspective, based on one's own personal view and one's own personal preference, is not acceptable. Because people have different kind of tendency. Some people want to remain always eternal. Some people want to hold on to such and such a view, etc. That's why I don't try to interpret Nibbana from my own original perspective, my own personal view. I just only use the scriptural points and scriptural quotation so that you have more reliable, more solid explanation and more solid knowledge regarding Nibbana. Today, in today's time, the term Nibbana is easily used by a lot of people. In Asia, this is very sad sometimes. Even the funeral cars and cemeteries are given the term Nibbana. It's very funny and very derogatory. A funeral car which carries the dead corpse, a hearse, is named as Nibbana vehicle. And there is in Malaysia and Hong Kong and Philippines, there's a foundation which operate the cemeteries in those Asian countries. They just name their organization as Nibbana Foundation. Actually, as a Nibbana business, funeral business. They just operate the cemeteries. They just make money out of the term Nibbana. It's very derogatory and misleading. Sometimes some people interpret Nibbana as nothingness. I met once one monk trying to say that Nibbana is nothingness. Buddha is very much really hesitate and reluctant because it is nothingness. So he doesn't explain anything. Actually, he that monk doesn't have any strong background of learning. He just became a man only when he's getting old. So he just trying to misrepresent and mislead the people by interpreting and saying the Nibbana as nothingness. He even wrote the book. It's very sad. So why I meet that man, please don't say like this. You cannot explain unless you attain the Nibbana. It's very difficult to explain in terms of language, in terms of human word. It's very difficult to explain. Once you understand such basic explanation through the scriptural quotation, now you will understand a little bit. There are two kinds of Nibbana Buddha mentioned. The one is Sandetika Nibbana, practical Nibbana, which everybody can achieve, which everybody can experience in this very life, in this very moment. Another is Samprayika Nibbana, more advanced, more higher Nibbana. This is the Nibbana where you attain by achieving the fourth stage of enlightenment. So practical Nibbana and what you can achieve, which we can all achieve, is already explained in this course online book. I just use one discourse said by the Buddha to a gentleman, a Brahmin. Practical Nibbana is the moment you are able to remove your anger. Then you are happy. And practical Nibbana is the moment you are able to overcome your lust, your attachment. And practical Nibbana is the moment you are able to remove your confusion, ignorance, and delusion. And practical Nibbana is the moment you are able to overcome your grief and your sadness by means of mindfulness meditation or by means of applying a particular specific method of meditation. These are practical examples set by Buddha. So we have to understand before we conclude our session. Nibbana can be understood on different levels. Practical level, on higher level. On practical level, you can use your daily situation where the mind is become agitated, restless, where you are suffering from some sort of emotion. Once you know how to overcome it, how to cope with it, then you just apply it, especially in this case, mindfulness meditation or particular method of meditation. And this is how you can achieve practical Nibbana. Another thing you can achieve the practical Nibbana is, let's say when you are going to bed, you cannot fall asleep easily because you have been very busy all whole day. Don't just forget about everything. Just enjoy your sleep. Life is here and now at the present moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, not everything past, just only present current moment. This present current moment is your real life and your real living experience. Just be here and be at here at this moment and watch your breath and observe that breath without any notion of Rava or joy and genie. Just observe. Let your mind come and let your mind right through. That's in-breath and out-breath. Be much into that each in-breath and out-breath. Let your consciousness flow, be moving and marching along the breath. And don't think about it. Don't think about other things. Forget about all those other things. Then you will slowly be able to go to sleep because of the mindfulness and concentration. Your mind itself will be an agent of catalytic agent who achieved and transformation effect. Use your mind. The mind is very powerful. We are born with this very wonderful energy known as the mind. We just only need to trust the power of our own mind. Use it by changing into meditation mood, not in thinking mood, not being concerned about what you have done today, what you are going to do tomorrow, and what's the situation like this, etc. If you are able to live life in such liberated, temporary liberated mind from the notion of me and mine, then it will be okay. You can enjoy practical nirvana and practical moments in this practical life. So this is more important, more relevant, more applicable teaching of the Buddha, which you can apply. In Buddhist text, Buddha always said, you have to understand the truth on two dimensions. One is tangible and reality with a physical reality. The other is intangible without physical reality. For example, we used to talk about heaven and hell, and gods, angels, ghosts, and demons, and next slide, river, consciousness, etc. Those are, they don't exist in practical physical existence. We cannot even say about how far from here the heaven is located. What our angel or so-called God creator looks like. We just only pray. We just only expect that they do exist. These are called the intangible truth. Buddha doesn't reject them. And tangible truth with the physical tangible realities are our body and our mind and everything around us, the family members and the friends and daily work and daily problem, daily issues. We have to deal with it. We have to be associated with it. We just need to be down to earth and more realistic when we are looking for answers of our universal issues of suffering and pain. We just need to use our mind as a spiritual tool and our meditation as a wonderful applying science so that we can practically enjoy this practical nibbana in this very life. Okay, now let's conclude our session. Okay, Corey, let's conclude our section.
Okay. So